Alright, real quick. First, Rise of the Grunts 3 devlog. I have a lot to say about this game that I'm probably going to save for like a long, me in front of my desk video rather than this first devlog. So I'm going to try and keep this particular video brief. Welmer's the only playable character implemented right now. The controls are very similar to Rise 2. J is your basic attack. K is your primary skill, and L is your secondary skill, and the skills are basically the same. Basic combos have been gutted because, other than Lasser, no character in Rise 2 really benefited from them, like at all. But Welmer's skills function basically the same. The only difference control-wise from Rise 2 is that spacebar no longer activates your super. All supers will probably come back in Rise 3. They're just not currently implemented right now. I think they were a pretty good gameplay addition in Rise 2. Instead, if you press spacebar, the character will jump. An aerial variant for the basic attack exists, and an aerial variant for the primary skill exists. In terms of their damage, we can demonstrate it on the Whisper. The Whisper being the returning basic enemy from Rise 2. These were the most common enemy in Rise 2. But as you can see, damage numbers exist for all attacks now. These blue goblin things are the Tibs. They're effectively this game's Gruntus stand-in. And this thing is the Tublub, which is the tankiest enemy from Stage 1. All of these enemies, in terms of what they do, they're relatively basic, because, they're Stage 1 enemies. But yeah, the Tublub's the tankiest, but you can still kill it relatively easily. Pits exist in this game, and pushing an enemy into a pit will do damage to it, as will, falling into the pit. So that's neat, I guess. In terms of controls, Rise 3 is buttery smooth. It feels significantly better than Rise 2. In Rise 2, it was difficult to consistently hit enemies after you knocked them into the air. There was no real way to do it on purpose, but you would do it, relatively frequently on accident. Versus in Rise 3, where it's pretty easy to do it on purpose. Here's the first mini-boss, the first Scale Marauder Fillet. He has 3 moves, of course a basic, that spin move there, and he throws a knife every once in a while. The basic might actually be the most dangerous move he has because it does 15 damage. The spin move does 3 damage on each hit and it hits 4 or 5 times. Maybe 6 times. Depends on when you get caught by it. But he's not too difficult, all things considered. As you can see, he doesn't take knockback from your basic attack, but he does get knocked back by every other attack. Enemies have unique knockback and regular, recoil from being hit. You're never going to see it on the Whisper or Tib. The Tib, you literally can't see it on because they die the frame they're hit and their knockback resistance is 1. But on the Whisper, they're weak to basically everything as well. Not literally, though. Anyway, that's Eskar. He's the main antagonist of this game. He's returning from Rise 2. And we have the boss of Stage 1, Bruticus. Bruticus has 2 attacks, Fireball and the Punch. He is very easy. He's just kind of a spectacle boss. I will say, I think he's harder than Eskar, but only marginally. And then after beating Stage 1, you get taken to this. This is the first room of the hub area, which is not implemented yet. But yeah, that's the first stage of Rise 3. If I had any real complaints with Rise 3, it's that it is kind of easy, very easy, easier than Rise 2. Only a little easier than Rise 2, though. It's obviously, by extension, easier than Rise 1, but Rise 1's difficulty mostly comes from how jank it is. In terms of how it plays, though, I really like Rise 3 so far. I'm very happy with this game. I don't know how many playable characters there will be, don't know how many stages there will be. I'll get into more specifics. Number 1, as more devlogs come out. And number 2, in that full-on discussion video that I talked about earlier in this video. Don't know when that's going to happen. I filmed one about a week or 2 ago, but I wasn't happy with it. So I'm probably going to film a different one now that I have a better idea of what Rise 3 is like. So yeah, I'm quite happy. I'm very happy with where Rise 3 is. I hope this video gets people interested in Rise 3 because I'm very proud of where this game is right now. It's probably the happiest I've been with a game in a very long time. I'm quite happy with how this turned out so far.